Welcome to the AG45 Soul Aligned Strategy Podcast, where business meets purpose, growth feels good, and results meet enjoyment. Hosted by Katherine Breuss, CEO and founder of AG45, this show is built on 30 years of hands-on experience across 4 countries, 3 businesses, and 1 incredible life raising 4 children. Katherine brings a rare whole-person perspective to business, strategy, and leadership. This podcast is for business owners ready to stop spinning, start aligning, and build a business that delivers real value while creating a life that actually feels like yours. At the end of the day, you are the engine behind it all. And when you're clear and aligned, everything moves with purpose. It starts with you. Let's dive in.
Al, I want to welcome you to the AG45 Soul Line Strategy Podcast. Everyone listening, I want to introduce you to Al Leidinger, and I'm going to hand the mic over to him and let Al share with all of you who he is and also about his business. So Al, take it away.
Thank you, Katherine. Pleasure to be with you. My name is Al Leidinger. I am president of Matheson Manufacturing. My wife, business partner, and I purchased the company 13 years ago this month. I'm married with 2 kids. My daughter is 38, living in New York, and my son is 36, living in Montana. So I have 2 places to visit whenever I like. Overall, I have a wonderful life. I'm very blessed with who I have. I've had great business advisors. The business has been growing for the last 13 years. We're looking at succession planning over to a few employees right now. And just in general, I think I have an alignment with my work-life balance. I enjoy being here. I'm very passionate about the business, but at the same time, when I'm not here, I'm enjoying life and not missing it. Where in the past, all of us in our younger days, right? You go on vacation for a week, and for 2 days, you had to learn to relax. Then you have about a day or 2 that you relax. And then the last few days, you're thinking about work again before you get back. So my wife and I, we love gardening. We like to travel. We like being active, bicycling, paddleboarding, kayaking, hiking, you name it. We live in Oconomowoc, and we're like a 5-minute walk from downtown, so we really enjoy living there. There's lots of activities, wonderful area, and great neighbors, great friends. So it's just a very nice life, like I said.
Oh, that's fabulous, Al. Can you tell us, well, first of all, I want to ask the question, and I know this isn't going to indicate which child, it's more of a place. What do you like visiting more, New York or Montana?
Montana.
I was guessing that. And even even though I haven't been to Montana, it is on my bucket list. I watched Yellowstone, so of course, like the show Yellowstone, and it's Montana, and I just sit and go, oh my God, it looks absolutely beautiful. And like you, I love kayaking, paddleboarding, hiking, skiing. So I'm jealous.
Although I do like to go to New York. It is an exciting, vibrant city, and having a daughter there who knows, she's been out there 10 years, so she knows the city. So it's fun either way, but yeah, definitely mountains and outdoors a little bit better for us.
Yeah, when you need an injection of like city life, yeah, New York would be the place to go.
Right, definitely.
But yeah, so Al, will you share with us just a little bit more about your business?
So Matheson Manufacturing is a contract manufacturing assembly company. We specialize in light gauge sheet metal, think computer chassis, panel boxes. We also make medical carts. We make a urology cart for a customer for the past, probably 20, 30 years, long before I've been here. And we actually reverse engineered that. So they were not happy with their vendor. They sent us a cart. We redesigned it. And then now we make them from them turnkey, 30 to 70 a month. We also do simple brackets for companies like GE. So we do MRI repair kit components, so brackets, quick disconnects, things like that. My background and my partner's background are actually machine building. So that's where the assembly comes in, and we're trying to drive more growth into more medical devices, now trying to get into aerospace a little bit more. But we are as diverse as, like I said, a simple bracket to a medical cart to, we have a customer real-time purity from California, and we actually build them a system that will tell you the contaminants in water in real life at taking an X-ray and shooting it through a thin film of water. And it'll tell you anything on the periodic table, the contaminant in real time in the water. So we're trying to grow with them so that we build from scratch, test, ship. We also do a blood flow simulator for a company called Mentis, probably about once a year. And it actually mimics the flow of your blood in viscosity, temperature, everything. And they can actually put like an artificial heart or kidney on one end of this machine, and they can actually practice surgery before they ever cut your eye open the first time.
Oh, wow.
So we're the big gambit. The other unique thing about Matheson is we're a high mix low volume company. So it's not like we do the same part 10,000 a month. We do anything from a single part that we never see again to our repeat customers doing 50, 100, 150, 200 pieces at a time. We're anywhere from medical to water technology to sports equipment. We do a lot of treadmill stuff for a customer. And a lot of, like I said, chassis work. So more of these like utility company panels, embedded technologies. One of our customers, we make chassis for them that go into semiconductor making machines. So we're all over the place as far as markets go, which is fun because you have a nice variety of things and the guys never get bored.
Well, well, and I'm interested because this is foreign to me in terms of like doing any of that. It's so out of my wheelhouse, but I'm fascinated. How did you get into this? Like what drove you in this direction?
I've been in manufacturing all my life. My father had an induction heat treating company, so I pretty much grew up in the shop, machining, welding, designing heat treating equipment, building it, testing it. And so I've always been involved in some kind of manufacturing. I've been in probably 5-10 different industries, from plastic extrusions to injection molding to foundry, to peripheral equipment for injection molding. So building dryer systems and the vacuum movers and all the refrigeration units and that. And I've always wanted to own my own company. And I had the opportunity when I was in my early 50s and went through basically, quite frankly, a rough time. Got divorced from my first wife. I only had so much money left. And she really never, she was very risk averse. And I'm more like, let's do it. So my current wife and I are very much business people, and I got this job at Matheson with a potential to buy in if there was a fit. And about a year and a half into the journey here as general manager, Judy Matheson pulled me in the office and said, let's put a deal together. So I thought, why not? So that's how I came to be here.
And that leads me, that is like a perfect lead in, and I had no idea. So people listening, that to me just sounds incredibly soul aligned. So what happened is that there was soul alignment there. You know, when you actually decided what you wanted, that you really wanted to go down this business route, and then things, it just sounds like that your life started to fall into place. So to that, Al, I love it. How, like, what do you see as soul aligned?
For me, it's kind of like getting that balance and being confident and comfortable with what I'm doing at work and also outside of work. And then actually, you know, now that we're looking at succession planning, is what is that next purpose in my life and what should I be doing next, and be very ingrained in that before I even sell the business. And right now we've made quite a bit of an effort where two individuals are pretty much running our company for us, and I literally have nothing to do, which is great. That's how I want to be. So I can help sell, network. I do a little bookkeeping, and I'm very comfortable with what these two guys are doing with the company, and it's running very well. And part of my soul alignment is I want to leave a legacy with the right people. When Judy Matheson hired me and we started going through the sale, the very important thing for her and her husband was that the employees are treated well. And I grew up that way. I was always taught the guys at the shop make you the money. I don't make money. I'm overhead. And I've always had that with all of my jobs throughout my career. And that just was good for me to know when we took the company over. Judy and Bill were very comfortable that I would take care of the employees, which we still have. We try to do succession planning for anybody from the shop floor to, the guys who want to take it over. My engineers are both shop floor guys from decades ago. The gentlemen that have been coming in over the years since we purchased the company, we try to figure, okay, what do you want to learn next? Where would you like to go? Give those opportunities to them to, learn stuff. And if it's something they try and they don't like it, it's no skin off your nose, right? You just, okay, go back to what you were doing. So,
you're aligning them as well. So even I would consider that soul aligning in a way of finding out, hey, what are you interested in? And, how can we maybe make that work and support
right.
you in that?
Right. And it's somewhat of not a selfish move, but it's a preservation move, right? If I put you in a position where your strengths aren't being used, but your weaknesses are, we're all going to fail, and that employee will be miserable as well. But if I know you have a strength, even if I didn't hire you for that, and I learn that, okay, you are really good over in this area, let's move you over there, and we're all successful, and they're happier, and the company grows, and we share the profits with everybody every quarter, and it just really helps the culture grow. And that's something we've been working on for many years.
Okay, so I really love, everything that you're saying, because you are just speaking my, I don't know, you're speaking my language with culture, and culture is such an important aspect of business. And I would even consider culture, a business either is so aligned with it, and the people who are in the company are so aligned with the culture, or they're not. And the impact. So what do you see the impact when a culture is misaligned, or the people within it are misaligned, versus when a culture and everybody is running well, and it's meshing and you're rowing in the same direction?
So the best, I guess, examples I have for that, Catherine, are as we were growing the business and we needed more and more people. It's very hard to get some of the skilled trade positions like brake press. It's very, very difficult to find a brake press guy or gal. And we went through literally over 40 or 50 brake press guys in 5 years.
Wow.
And it was just, I had to get bodies in the door, and, you get them in here, you train them, they weren't working out, or they literally would just not show up one day, and you found out they took a job down the street. And we took a step back, and even though it was painful, it's like, we have to have the right people here. We're not just going to hire 10 or 20 people, go through them, and then still don't have that skill set in house. So we actually worked with Breakthrough Technologies. It's actually Jerry Jandusa and Paul Shull's company. And they taught us what they call their stuck method. And that's, they run their company on a single page. And and it's financial, customer innovation, production, and the last one is great place to work. And as part of that, the very first year we did this, we went through and said, what do we want in a good employee, and what culture do we want to have here at Matheson? Then we started rewriting all of the job descriptions, and we focused on breaking it down to 3 sections. And that's something I learned when I worked at JW Speaker, when we were putting together job descriptions. And that we have 3 priorities. Tier 1 or priority 1, tier 2 is priority 2, and tier 3 is the boilerplate stuff, lift 50 pounds, show up for work every day. So in tier 1, you not only have the responsibilities and what that job description is, but kind of the behaviors are in there as well. So focus on number 1, and then number 2, you have even more behaviors that should be an everyday thing, cultural courtesy, work with each other, just, a list of other priorities that we like. And that helped us drive, what are we going to do when we interview somebody, and who is going to come in permanently? The other thing that my wife taught me for years that I'm finally listening to after all this time is hire slow, fire fast. And we were doing just the opposite. We'd hire
Mhm.
fast, we'd hang on to mediocrity, errors, because we needed that pair of hands,
Mhm.
which was a detriment to the company after a while, right? Because you can only do that so long. So I think that answers your question in a
It does. And like, well, to that, and with some of the clients we work with, they have, the same pain points, and particularly in the trades too, in terms of finding bodies. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, we need bodies.
yeah.
And it's, where do we even look for them? So that whole hire slow, fire fast. So what would your advice be to owners out there right now listening? So let's say they have a mediocre employee, but they are like, it's hard to find even the body. It's hard to even find the bodies to do the work, much less, let's say they know who they want, the ideal, like looking at they want them to align with the culture, but they can't even find the bodies, and then trying to find that ideal, but they need that person in there, but that person isn't great. How did you handle that? Like, what would be your advice to other owners?
Well, first thing we started doing, even with the mediocre ones, is okay, back to play on your strengths. A lot of guys would walk in and say, yeah, I can run a brake press, and you find out they didn't, but they had the aptitude to do it. So we would basically start training them. And I think a lot of companies, even in our situation, is you got to make sure you communicate with these people from day one. You can't just let them go 30 days and okay, at the 30-day review comes on, you haven't talked to them for the first month.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at training. We spend a lot of money on training. Our vendor that we buy our equipment from, they have brake press training every once in a while. They have laser training every once in a while, and we'll send the guys to it. And then they can grow on that with our two engineers who were brake press guys for 20 years out there training with them. So now they have the basics. And then we continue the mentoring and training process. Now, obviously, that person that you're training has to have that attitude. But I have found if you talk to people regularly and also get their input, I've had some people in here, and then you get another new person in there, and the guy next to him is like, "Oh, I'm not going to teach him anything because he's going to take my job." It's like, no, you are going to get in trouble if you don't share information. You're going to make more money and be happier here if you work together, collaborate, teach us what you know, we'll teach you what we know. Let's find the best way. And
Mm-hmm.
you still go through some people, but I think when we finally said, regardless of how desperate we are, we're not going to hire it unless it's the right person. I think that's where the changing point was. And now we have a great 2 shifts of great brake press guys. We've got people that collaborate. The shifts are talking to each other. We had a situation where the leads didn't like each other, so nobody talked to each other. And for me to go out there and, I don't want to browbeat anybody, but it's like, okay, I don't want to run the place like this. I'm going to let you guys run it. So talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So we now finally have that set of people that talk to each other. I've got people now, even my roughest employees, and fortunately we don't have many of them, are actually coming and offering ideas and talking with the other people. And it's like, okay, you see it. Everybody else is doing it. You're either going to come on board or you leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's really, really, really great to hear. And how long would you say that it took for you to really, get the culture, everybody on board, the right people in the right seats, and where you are today? How long did that take you and your team?
Until 2 years ago. And it'll be 13 years that we've owned it this month. So it took a long, long time. And the other thing that I think helps, Catherine, is you have to look at people like human beings. So we probably go overboard as far as our flexibility, but if somebody's got a sick kid at home or they got a court date or a doctor's appointment, he really can't make it outside of work hours. We have just a verbal rule. It's like, okay, go to your court date or whatever. Just make up your time so you don't lose any money and I don't lose your production time.
Mm-hmm.
Also getting to know these people, there's 23 of us total, 14 in the shop, the rest in the office. We all know each other's lives. We know our kids. We know the good times, the bad times with our employees. So you have to be personal with them. And one thing I learned a long time ago is I have to say hello to you every single day. I walk through the shop first thing in the morning and say, good morning, how you doing? Stop and talk to the guys every once in a while individually. And when second shift comes in, I make sure I get out there and talk to them as well. So you get this, that's, I think, how the culture finally, with the right people and continuing to communicate, I think that really was the breakthrough we had.
Well, and I saw on your website, which I thought was really cool. I saw the word mindset.
Okay.
So one thing you talked about, and specifically, I'm not quoting, so I could be veering off from, but the gist of what I heard was that, lots of other companies, they have their values and they have the things listed, and you wanted it to be simple that people can remember. And it said, it said mindset. And then you talked about how the mindset that you wanted people to show up at
Right.
work. Where did that come from? Because I was like, that's really interesting. That's a different way of looking at it. And I'm huge on mindset.
Well, I think it comes back to getting those people that actually have some pride in what they do. And that mindset is going to be, I'm going to be at work every day. I'm going to do my best job I can. I'm going to help the company out. And that's kind of where that came from.
Mm-hmm. And did that start? So when you said it took until 2 years ago to really get everything, rowing in the right direction, and everybody's on the boat and great culture. When though was it that it seemed to me like kind of you woke up of going, okay, we got to hire slow, fire fast. Was that 11 years ago, or was that like 5 years ago that was a realization?
Probably more like 5 to 6 years ago.
Okay.
Again, prior to that, we were growing so quickly that I just needed a pair of hands and bodies in. So we were basically churning them through. Yeah, it took quite a while.
So
But the
would you,
mindset was always there. It was just a matter of, okay, do I have the discipline to just follow it? And I like to say we're the best company with the most amazing ideas. We are the most inconsistent on following through on anything. So, and that's a true statement. We still do well, but it's just like shiny object, right? It's like, oh, squirrel, So
you're
I
not
always
the
had
only
that.
one.
Yeah. I'm finding that out with my peers. But it's, the mindset was there, but it was a matter of the discipline to follow through on it. And also being realistic about it. Yeah, I can have all these disciplines in place and these goals and things. And if you're not hitting them, yes, you should be reprimanded and then fired, right? If it gets too bad, I wouldn't have a business anymore. So you have to find that balance of when to do what.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I would say it sounds too like that maybe it didn't take necessarily 11 years to get you to the place where you are. I mean, obviously all this stuff, but when you realized 5 or 6 years ago of like this higher, slow, fire fast, was that when would you say it was then that you really started to then consciously and actively, harness this mindset and put this culture in place? So it didn't necessarily take you 11 years to build what you have in terms of a team, but it was more conscious 5 or 6 years ago, or am I completely?
Yeah, it was kind of fits and starts from the beginning. We'd have these good times and then people go away and we have to start over again from a culture standpoint. But I think it was just kind of a side thing. People, when you see a good candidate, you got to move on them just like that. And we lost a few good candidates, but looking back, it's probably a good thing that we didn't hire them, because then you hear through the recruiters where they went and what they did. So as we started looking at doing this, we just put our foot down and said, we have to hire the right employee. and then
Mhm.
looking back what the needs are. And then, even with the job descriptions, the business has changed. So you got to kind of keep that in mind, even though this position is for X, that has changed a lot. And being a small company, you wear a lot of hats. So even in the shop, I may need you for brake press, but you have to be willing to go to these three other areas when there's no brake press work and vice versa. And finding those individuals that want to do that is, I think, what really helped us succeed. The
Mhm.
other thing we learned is we are actually finding people that are not happy at their current jobs because they can't grow. And that's where I think our succession planning really helps drive that culture, because we will give them a growth path.
Mm. People want it's interesting. It doesn't matter the industry. Well, I shouldn't say, maybe there are some industries out there that people don't really care about growth and their own kind of evolution. It's not just money that motivates people. It is also, hey, how am I going to grow? What's my
Right.
next level? What's my next stage? And so businesses like yours that consider that put that into practice, your people stay, and you can attract and retain the people that fit your culture.
Right. And also the wages have increased, and we pay probably as well as companies 10 times our revenue. But we keep these people, they're happy, they've been contributing, and they help the company grow. So what's that worth? Instead of, other places that'll kind of drive people through, make millions of parts at a time, pay them, $18 an hour instead of 25. And that's a nightmare in itself from an HR standpoint, right? So,
Absolutely. And I really think, what you're talking about in so many ways is soul alignment. And you became more soul aligned. I think you said in your 50s, and then you decided to buy, the business with your wife, and this is what you wanted to do. And then as you grew through that business, it became even more soul aligned. And then even the things that you're doing within the business by aligning your team to what interests them, but also aligning them to the business and where the business is going and how they fit into it.
right, exactly.
So if there was one piece of advice that you could give a fellow business owner, what would that be?
Take care of your people, especially the shop people. I mean, everybody does great work, but people that make you the money are the people producing the product. Make sure you make sure they are successful. And by that, I mean, okay, not only the right people, train them, make sure you communicate with them, make sure they know the company goals and where we're doing. Teach them how the business works. I share my cost of goods sold statement of my income statement just to teach people. They'll see a big revenue number. It's like, well, how come we barely made any money? It's like, well, here's the costs that hit us this month. Oh, I didn't realize that. So when I first started as GM, the old owners didn't even share sales revenue on a monthly basis. They just gave out a Christmas bonus once a year. So nobody had any clue what sales were, how our profits were, cash flow, all of that. So I actually started teaching people, here's what affects the business. So again, back to communication, be open and honest. My guys know me. Sometimes they don't like me, but I'm brutally honest when it comes to financials and, the business as a whole, if we're in trouble, if we're not. And I think they appreciate that. The other big advice I would give any owner, and it's difficult because it hits you financially from time to time, is we don't lay off here. If we get slow, I don't get rid of half my staff. A, it took too long to train them. B, they're great fits now and the culture's there. So I have a very clean shop when it's slow out there. If you can afford to do that, if you can just, if people leave on their own, or it's a performance issue, if you can limit it to that and try to hang on to your good people no matter what, you're going to be successful.
And is there anything that you would suggest or an experience you had where you couldn't afford it, but you figured out a way of doing it?
Yeah, then, the first step would be cutting hours or having rotating guys take rotating days off, things like that. Fortunately, we have really not had to do that more than a couple of weeks throughout my whole tenure here.
Great.
But yeah, be creative. And there's always projects you never get to, back to the squirrel thing. Okay, we wanted to do this project for 2 years, but we've been too busy and now we have nothing to do. But this project will help the company. So it's just like investing in an outside consultant coming in. Well, if you know what you want to do for your project, put the money into that. You're going to pay them either way. So
Yeah.
you get that. And then when business returns, then you've already got that better efficiency or lean manufacturing process in place.
Al, I really, really enjoyed our conversation, and it sounds like your business and you operate as so aligned as you can. I mean, we're never all perfect with it. We're human, so we go, are in and out. But I really do appreciate you spending your time here with all of us and sharing your experiences and your ups and your downs. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
Well, I appreciate it. Al, we must have you back. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Catherine.
Thanks for joining us on the AG45 Soul Aligned Strategy podcast. If you're ready to align your soul with your business, take back your time, and grow with intention, we'd love to connect. Visit accelerategrowth45.com to schedule a call, apply to be a guest, or take the next step toward building a soul-aligned business. At AG45, we believe when business meets value, wealth meets legacy, and time meets freedom, the journey becomes truly enjoyable. Until next time, stay aligned, stay inspired, and keep building your legacy.